好きそう。
In the previous episode, we discussed Leslie's story, how her father died in the line of duty, and how she was adopted by the Duke of the Kingdom of Grandrock. Let's continue. The Duke assigned Lesley to watch over his only child, Harley, and stand as the child's sister. Harley is the heir to the Kingdom of Grandrock, but his father has no confidence in Harley because Harley has no talent or ability to use magic. Even in physical combat, the child has no potential to show, and as a result, the Duke was forced to marry allied families to have new children and new heirs to his kingdom. The people in the kingdom could see the disappointment of the Duke with Harley, but Harley doesn't care about political matters. He just wants to play and be happy in life. Young Harley is a little bit weird, always alone and without friends. But when the Duke adopted Lesley, Harley had a real sister and a friend. Lesley, who was also always alone and sad because of her father's death, found new joy in her new brother. The relationship between the two deepened, and since then, they have always been together. Harley was a happy child, but he also felt the coldness of his father's treatment. So Harley always asks Lesley, how can he get his father's respect and love? Lesley just keeps quiet because she couldn't bear to say that the Duke had abandoned hope for Harley for a long time now. One day, Harley discovered that he had the ability to use magic. He immediately told this to his sister. When Lesley heard the news, she was thrilled because it might be the way to change the Duke's opinion of Harley. Lesley was eager to witness Harley's power, so Harley stood in front of her. He adjusted his bow tie, he pulled out his hat, and waved his magic wand. And then suddenly, birds came out of the hat. Then he reached for the inside of the hat and pulled out a white rabbit. Then Harley walked over and pulled a rose behind Leslie's ear. Lesley happily accepted the rose and showed Harley that she was amazed by his magic. However, deep inside, Lesley knew that Harley's magic were just tricks. This was not the power the Duke was looking for. Lesley could see that Harley was too eager to show this to his father, but Lesley knew that the Duke would be even more irritated when he finds out that this was the only magic Harley could do. So when Harley asked if his father would like it, all Lesley said was, "For sure, but it's not perfect yet. You still have to practice some more." And since then, Harley dragged other people to watch his magic. People were happy with Harley's show, even though they knew it was nothing compared to the power of a real mage. And they were just humoring Harley because he seems happy with what he's doing. However, word spread that the Duke's son had magical powers, and his enemies heard about it, so they sent men to kidnap young Harley. Harley's magic is useless in battle, so he can do nothing but cry and ask for help. His hands and feet were bound, and his eyes blindfolded. They imprisoned him in a cold, dark place. The kidnappers sent a message to the Duke, demanding a ransom for his son. However, they were shocked when the Duke immediately rejected them. For him, Harley is not a loss to the kingdom, so he doesn't care what happens to him. However, Lesley will never allow her brother to be left in the hands of the enemy. For the first time in her life, Lesley disobeyed the Duke's order, and she stormed the hideout of the kidnappers. In the middle of the darkness, Harley could hear the sound of guns and the loud screams of his sister. He struggled to remove his blindfold, and when he did, he saw in front of his cell his brave sister bravely fighting the kidnappers. Harley could do nothing but cry and blame himself for everything that was happening. Lesley was completely surrounded, and in the middle of the fight, a bullet hit Leslie's left eye. Harley struggled, but his hands and feet were still tied, and as he saw Lesley go down, Harley's true power awoke. Suddenly, the ropes that bound him caught fire. Harley stood up, and with a gesture of his hand, he burned the enemies surrounding Lesley. Everyone thought Harley's magic was just cheap tricks, but in reality, it was an intense and terrifying power that woke up in a time of crisis. They eliminated all the enemies and left that dark place. Lesley then took Harley to the shipyard on the north side of Castle Grandrock, where they boarded a ship going to the Magic Academy. Harley asked, "Aren't we going home?" Lesley answered, "Do you like that home?" Harley bowed his head and was silent for a long time, and then said, "I like my sister more." Lesley smiled and said, "They will never go back there. Instead, they will go to the Magic Academy, a place only for magicians, and there he will live happily." Harley asked if Lesley would go with him. Lesley replied, "We will always be together." Arriving at the Magic Academy, Harley woke up alone. He couldn't find his sister, and next to him was a letter, and written on it was, "Live well, and wait for me to come and pick you up." Lesley returned to the kingdom and explained everything to the Duke. Lesley took on all the blame and responsibilities and was willing to accept any punishment. But the Duke did not punish her. However, he terminated Lesley as a bodyguard and hired new people to replace her. The Duke now knows Harley's true potential, and now his future plans now revolves around Harley. By the way, if you're interested in being a content creator, there's a link of all my gear in the description: mic, boom arm, mixer, lights, webcam, headphones, and many more. Thank you for watching. Please drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode. My name is Kizzo, and this is your Game Gospel.